I want to get to the personal side of the fires. Celebrity fitness trainer Jillian Michaels joins me now. You had to evacuate your mom in California. That was in this fire, right? Tell the story.
Yes. We actually lost our home in 2018 to the Woolsey fire. So you would think that something would have changed since then. And unfortunately, nothing has. Things have only gotten worse. And this is not like 2018 to now. Do you realize that northern Malibu just burned down 4 months ago? This is a yearly occurrence, which is why it's inexcusable. The lack of preparedness, the misappropriation of water. It's just absolutely outrageous. So my mother is in Brentwood. My ex has a place in Topanga Canyon. My brother also lives in Los Angeles. I have friends that I've grown up with. We got out and went to Miami. But I have to go constantly back and forth because of family. And Bill Maher's studio is there. I work with Bill Maher. So we were there for New Year's. And the fire broke out. My ex moved the kids to Pasadena. I moved my mom to West Hollywood. And I was supposed to come to New York to do New Year, New You press, which is so ridiculous. And I left the next day, and subsequently, my ex's in-laws house burned down, and my mom's house is still in jeopardy, and my ex's house is still in jeopardy, and I have numerous friends who've lost their homes, and people are absolutely devastated.
Jillian, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to go back to the press conference in Los Angeles. They're asking questions, and I want to hear this.
Red flag warning still in effect. They will resume again next week. There is no rain in the forecast. What are you doing at this point to earn back people's trust and to make sure these mistakes don't happen again?
Well, first of all, I think that was addressed at the beginning of the press conference by Kevin McGowan.
I would like that from you. I don't. You're the top official here.
So let me just be clear. I am going to spend every moment that I can making sure that I am in as many areas as possible, meeting and talking to residents to see what is needed in the recovery. But I also mentioned that we're moving into recovery mode at the same time, meaning that we want to see the city rebuilt. We want to see Los Angeles come together. Let me finish. We want to see Los Angeles come together.
You are deflecting from the question. You have millions of people here who get these alerts. They are ignoring them. You still have red flag warnings in effect. There is a real threat here. What is your message to your constituents who are losing faith? You started this entire press conference begging people not to turn their phones off.
I want the Los Angeles region to have faith in what we are doing 24 hours a day. I can say on behalf of our first responders, from the fire department, the police department, we are doing everything we can to bring the situation under control, and success has been reported. We know that we're going to have a possible increase in the force of the winds at the beginning of next week, and getting Los Angeles prepared, doing everything we can to save lives. That is our #1 job, to protect people's homes, to protect people's businesses, and to prepare to rebuild Los Angeles in a much better way. We're going to stand united, we're going to stand together, and we are not going to allow politics to interfere, and we're not going to allow people to divide us for political gain. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. One over here.
Bobby Castro from
Jillian Michaels, you've been watching this.
And outraged. We're going to get prepared. What do you mean you're going to get prepared? You should have been prepared. We're not going to allow politics to come into this.
Nonsense.
This is all politics. You cut the budget of the fire department there by $17 million. Fire hydrants were broken, reservoirs were dry, new reservoirs that were supposed to have been commissioned in 2014 via Proposition 1, not one of those reservoirs has been completed. The forests are mismanaged, no control burns have been done. All of this should have been in place already. And I would love to give it to you. Like, let's say that you do have global warming. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm gonna run with it. Knowing that you have global warming, and knowing that California is inherently a tinderbox, and you have the Santa Ana winds, and it is simply a climate that is ripe for these kinds of catastrophes, How are you so grossly underprepared? And see, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to ask, the
sorry.
outrage that's being expressed here is extreme.
thank
It's across the
goodness.
board. Is it sufficient? Will it result in a change in politics in California?
That is
Can you
exactly
get a Republican
the
in there?
point. That is the issue, is that even whether or not this is blue or red, I have no idea. The issue is that whether you're Republican or Democrat, it's a nonpartisan issue. You're meant to be mitigating disasters. So to me, it's purely a leadership fail. I don't care if it's a blue or a red. It's a Newsom problem. It's a Bass problem. And it's been going on for years
They
now.
are obsessed with climate change and obsessed with DEI. I don't care what your opinion on those issues is, but those issues should not get in the way of the safety of the population.
When you look at where the state's water is going,
the ocean.
whether it's running off into the ocean to protect a small fish or it's being channeled to a few very large industrial farmers who are billionaires. I'm not talking about small and middle-sized farmers who are responsible for 80% of the state's water and 2% of the state's GDP, and they make large campaign contributions to the governor. I mean, this is the tip of the iceberg of what's going on here.
Jillian, I'm afraid I have to break away yet again, but thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I
Got quite a
appreciate
story,
it.
and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.